Hello, I am Dennis Green with Church Development, and it is a pleasure to have you join us in this webinar this morning on how to facilitate a $1 million gift to your church capital campaign. In my 30 years of doing church capital campaigns, I have been blessed to be on the receiving end of many $1 million gifts, and I want to emphasize the word joyfully. It is shocking to have somebody make $1 million gift and then thank you. It's extraordinary. Just the other day, I had a conversation with a person who is a recipient of a kidney donation. And this person was in a very delicate health situation because a transplant is such an enormous impact on one's system. And he described to me how the donor, a young woman, thanked him. She said, "It's been important to me to make this gift to another person who would have died without my gift." And she said, "Thank you for receiving this." And he was shocked. I have that same experience. Remember, not long ago, I was in Topeka, Kansas, having dinner at the donor's home when they gave me and the pastor the $1 million gift as they were cooking us dinner. It was extraordinary. I feel like I have the best job in the world. I feel just so very happy about this. And I want to walk through with you on how you can facilitate that. If I have done it, you certainly could do it as well. And I want to walk through the specifics and share some case study examples with you. So now I am going to share my screen. And although I'm limited technologically, I hope this can work. Yay, it's working. Okay, here it is now, Control F5. And we've got my screen. Now you can ask questions as we go. You can type it in the chat box, or you can send me a text, 816-560-3641. I've been through this many times, and I would welcome really any question that you have as we go. I will share these slides with you. We'll record it, and then we'll email it out to everybody who enrolled in this webinar. Our agenda will cover these 5 points, which you saw in the description. Number one, be aware that your $1 million gift is out there. I guarantee it. How do I know? Well, I'm a big nerd for statistics. I've got my life experience, and I've got the macroeconomic statistics by being a member of the Association of Fundraising Professionals and a member of the Charitable Gift Planners and the International Catholic group that exists just for stewardship, ICSC. Go to their annual conference. It's fantastic. Do you have 100 families in your church? I bet you do. If so, 8 of them have the capacity to make $1 million gift. I'll show you more on that later. Number 2, we're going to cover who is your $1 million donor. I can help you identify them. There is public information out there where you can find out. As a matter of fact, right now, you can do a Zillow search on yourself or anyone else to find out what is the value of their home. That is an indicator. We look hard at what have they given other charitable donations to. That is an indicator of their giving capacity. Okay, number 3, this is the most important part, very specific. Yes, you have to ask in order to receive, but don't ask until you've done these 3 things, okay? Very specific, and I'll talk about case studies. This kind of maps out your specific action plan. Number 4, there is a right way to ask and a wrong way to ask, and I have experienced both, and I am influenced by the great American philosopher Chuck Norris, who said, the key to success is to figure out what doesn't work and then don't do that. Well, I figured out what doesn't work and I figured out what does work. So I will give you the exact phraseology that you can employ that has worked for me over and over and over and over. And number 5, this is the most shocking part. After that $1 million gift comes in, what do you do next to prepare them for their next significant gift? The same donor I'm talking about. This first gift is just the first gift. You need to prepare for an increase in offertory and an estate gift as well. And the estate gifts is really where the big money is. So please interrupt as we proceed. Okay, this is church development. We've been doing this since 1992, raised a couple $100 million in campaigns and another 800 million in annual giving. So we're above $1 billion, and I love it. It's been fun the whole way. I've made a lot of friends. We get hired over and over to do church campaigns subsequently. It's how I met my wife. Anyway, I love this work. It's really fun. We're based on 1 Peter 4:10. This is our core scripture, that everything we have is a blessing, and it's up to us to be a conduit for those blessings. And the secular research says that's a real state of joy, being that conduit for blessings. I've done a lot of consulting. I've had my research published in the International Journal of Innovation. I'm a cancer survivor, which sort of heightens your awareness, I think, about your values and what's important. But anyway, that's a little bit about me. And we have gathered all this information by doing several hundred church capital campaigns. And I've written this book. It's pictured right there on the screen. Let me know if you want one. I'll send it to you for free. It's full of case studies and a bunch of fun studies as well, like the miracle of the way I met my wife. What's it like to face a silverback gorilla? All kinds of fun stuff. Now, number 4 and 5, I'm informed by non-church sources as well. Our focus is churches, but I am informed by all sources. My hero is this guy, Daniel Kahneman, who's a behavioral economist. And it really helps address that question. How do we inspire somebody to make $1 million gift? And he got a Nobel Prize. I figure there's something to learn there. I'm a member of a lot of professional associations, so I can share with you what I have learned from them. Okay, number 1, big concept. And I did just get a text with a question. The answer is more than 30 years. The question is, how long have you been at it? Do you have proof? So I've been at it, really, I started in 1982 in the secular world, 82 to 92. And then I was in a car wreck in 92 at 7 months in traction. I had a back injury. And a lot of time to lay there and pray and discern my calling. And that's when I decided to get into this work. And it really turned out to be the best car wreck of my life. Anyway, so I'm a little bit of an expert, and I'm happy to share that. Okay, point 1, your $1 million gift is out there. 8.8% of your people have a net worth of more than $1 million. Recently, I completed a feasibility study, and I, of course, brought up the subject of giving. And the person on the spot said, well, I mean, I know you're not asking me for a pledge, but we have designated that the church will be the recipient of our estate. And they told me the value, and they retired quite a while ago, and they're living in a magnificent place, which tells me right away they have that capacity of giving. Now, I bump into this in every single capital campaign that I do, every single one. The potential is out there. In the United States, over 2,000 gifts every year are given away of more than $1 million. So why not you? Now, the Dow Jones, it's been up and down lately, but from the big picture in the past 5 years, it has grown from 20,000 to over 30,000. So who cares if it's fluctuating between 32 and 36? That's a 50% growth in 5 years. Now, I want to talk about St. Anne's because the pastor followed the guidance in this workshop perfectly and said the magic words, and I'll tell you the magic words in just a little bit. At Mass, I said those words publicly, and after Mass, the $1 million came up, and it was a husband and wife. And they said fairly directly, they said, well, we think that we might be that donor. And the pastor said, this is magnificent. What are you doing for lunch? Let's just meet up right now. Can we talk about it? So they're out there. It happens to be every campaign. You can do it as well. Okay, number 2, who are these potential donors? Well, read the book, The Millionaire Next Door, and the corresponding volume, The Millionaire Mind. Just looking at your congregation, you probably don't know. They probably don't drive a super duper valuable car. They're probably not flashy and splashy. They're probably just like you and me and drive the same kind of car. It's just their financial side has done really well. So they might be invisible to you. So we employ research. It's scientific, it's data-driven. There's information out there, wealth information out there that is available to you, and I can help you do that. Give me a call. My number's on the last slide. I can email you links, okay? This informs me, like just recently, that, our case study is Holy Trinity. My coworker, Daryl Prater, a brilliant person, really good campaign manager. He's kind of our rock star. He did his research in advance of a campaign and found that one of the members gives more than $100,000 per year to a university about an hour away from the church, more than $100,000 a year, and gave about $100 to the parish. So Daryl just thought, well, perhaps there's some giving potential there we should think about. So he did his research, and he, being a very gentle giant, says to the pastor, well, perhaps we could engage them in dialogue and invite them in just to chat, just to find out what they think about the vision and what suggestions they might have. And the pastor, to his credit, said, that's a great idea. Well, of course it worked. And we had a very significant leadership gift. And the real interesting thing about that, we were managing the third consecutive debt campaign. So the first one, I can't remember how much they raised, but the second one raised $2 million. We took this research-driven approach and engagement approach, and we moved them from 2 million to 3 million in a debt campaign, a consecutive debt campaign. And I really, kind of worship Daryl because of his awesome brilliance, but that's just proof that guys are brilliant. But this research will really help you. And we can find out what they give to other charitable organizations because it's public record. Everybody has an annual report. The information is in there. It is available to you. Okay, next, number 3. You have to ask in order to receive, but do not ask until you have done these 3 things, okay? Number 1, we want your pastor to engage them in a dialogue. Number 2, educate and inform them. And C, facilitate a time of prayer and discernment, okay? So we can have town hall meetings. We can have videos and brochures and information and slideshows. We can have a prayer team that does the prayer and discernment. And we want the pastor to look them in the eye from the pulpit and individually before they're asked for the gift, and ask them, we're building this vision. What do you think about that? I would like to hear your thoughts and feelings about that. And this system of asking them, engaging them in dialogue, educating them, having facilitate a time of prayer and discernment. Yes, it's work. Yes, it takes time, it takes energy, it takes some expertise. I would happily share with you, give you for free templates from other successful churches like this one, St. Charles Borromeo, where the pastor was nothing short of brilliant to engage potential donors way, way, way in advance of fundraising, to do these 3 things way in advance. So it takes planning. A lot of church capital campaign firms just skip prayer and discernment entirely, and we'll skip the other stuff too, and just go right for the ask. And that is efficient, but is it effective? So skip all this stuff. You can get it done real fast. You can raise some money. But boy, the moment you go through the engagement and dialogue and prayer, the amount of money that you raise increases by 50%, and it doesn't cost you any more. You just have to do your homework. That's all you got to do. Plan in advance, make it happen. And you can make it happen like it happened at St. Charles. I guarantee you, I've been through this, remember, a couple hundred times, and I see it happen all of the time. So it's not magic. It's not me. You can do this. Okay, number 4. You do have to ask. There's a right way and there is a wrong way. The wrong way is the general, hey, everybody give. The right way is to ask that person, please, Dennis, please pray and discern if you are the right person that we need as a parish to step up and sponsor the cost of X. Now, in this case, it's a picture of St. James there. And the ask was for the roof. And the parish as a whole, they couldn't fund this out of their annual budget. So the ask was, please prayerfully discern if you're the right person, that we need to step up and sponsor the cost of the new roof, because I need that person. We need that person right now for us to succeed. Now, this seems pretty simple, but in the study of neurolinguistics, there's a huge amount of complexity that went into this. For instance, right now, the subconscious really only knows two times, either now or not now. The subconscious does not engage the decision-making process until the event horizon indicates a decision must be imminent. So right now, and that's when they start the software of decision-making, okay? To discern, we want them to shift their consciousness, and we want to engage with their belief system to discern God's will in their life. We want that, and we are going to educate them, and we've got a prayer committee to facilitate that. We also want them to go on a process called the transderivational search, which facilitates the mind's crawling through visual, auditory, and kinesthetic representations of where would my money go. So if you say all y'all give, what does that mean? Where does the money go? What are you talking about? But if you say to me, Dennis, I'd like you to make $1 million. If you say to me, Dennis, please prayerfully discern if you are the person we need to step up and sponsor the costs of the new roof, then that gives me visual, auditory, kinesthetic representation of me within the parish and the roof. I have a mental picture of the roof. You have a mental picture of the roof. You can look at that roof. I'm also going to show you more pictures and the structure underneath the roof, so you know where does my money go. And it really is a meaningful experience for me. But if you just say give, it has no meaning. Now, I want to conclude our big five. And here is another question that just came in. What if we have already completed our campaign and we're very short of the goal? That's really a tough one. That's a hard one to do. So I would follow up with, well, when did you complete the campaign? And you have to approach this very, very sensitively. So I would say you're really going to probably need to give it some time. And it might mean 3 years of time. But please send me an email or give me a call, and I can help you think through. Hopefully your $1 million donors gave something in this campaign. It's conceivable if they gave a small amount that you could go to them individually and ask them to step up. Now, I plunked in a term a minute ago, the meaning of life, because I'm a big fan of this next guy. His name is Russell James. He's perhaps the most educated person I've ever met. He's a PhD, and he's also a JD, a lawyer as well. And he's a leader in the estate giving world, in the bequest giving. So this book that is here portrays the brain neurological activity, electrical activity, when a person is discussing a bequest. Now, this point, number 5, and then we're going to close here just a minute or two. After a person gives, thank them, then start preparing for the next ask. Okay, this is not one and done. Okay, now think of your own college. How often do they ask you for a gift? Well, you know this, they have a capital campaign every 5 years. Every college does, and we in the church world need to embrace that. Every 5 years, okay? There are no complaints. Annual giving does not go down. As a matter of fact, annual giving increases if you do the right thing. So you should do. And this is a way for you to offload all your facility costs and not drain on your annual campaign. So we have really studied this system because there are over $400 billion given every single year. We want to be efficient. Now, the most common complaint I hear is that people make significant gifts and they're never thanked. Okay, so let me show you something that has a spectacular impact. Okay, you see this is a Celtic cross. It's steel, it's cut. It's a lovely Catholic person that has a family business of fabricating their family. I feel like they're saints. They want to help the church. They produce these. They're very inexpensive. Everybody who gave a gift of any size to the recent capital campaign received one of those lovely gifts. It doesn't cost very much. Furthermore, we can get somebody else to pay for it. That's another easy thing. There were several anonymous donors that helped pay for that. Every campaign I work, we get anonymous donors. Okay, so you thank them and people treasure that, and they know that they were appreciated. So the Association of Fundraising Professional research shows us that if somebody makes a big gift, the regular giving increases dramatically, not a little bit, but dramatically. Now, part of the way to understand that came from the chap who won the Nobel Prize in Economics, Daniel Kahneman, for his book, Thinking Fast and Slow. And he contextualized that. He doesn't talk about fundraising, but he talks about sunk cost as a cognitive strategy. If I've invested X, I want to make sure that that is a success. So I'm going to invest Y and Z to make sure my original investment was a good one. Okay. I see it happen over and over and over. So you thank them, then you prepare to facilitate their increased regular giving. And the Charitable Gift Planners Association, of which I am a member, they say that an estate gift will follow if you facilitate that, if you engage that. Now, I've also written a book about that. I've written 4 books, and I'm working on a 5th one right now. But I showed you this one, the stewardship system. I've also written one about how to conduct a stewardship-based church capital campaign. I've also written a book on how to conduct an estate giving program, and it's brief and it's succinct, and it is the result of 20 years of failure, because I failed at virtually everything until I found out the one thing that works. I'll share that with you in the book, but you need to move immediately from your $1 million gift and your capital campaign right into estate planning. And we usually raise as much money in estate planning as we do in a capital campaign. Now, that's an enormous amount of money, and you should not leave that on the table. It doesn't cost really anything to do, and it doesn't take a lot of time. It just takes advanced planning and a little tiny bit. We don't charge anything to help churches in their estate planning follow-up after their church capital campaign. Should you do it? Absolutely. And if you don't, then I feel like you're leaving a lot of money on the table. I'm sorry to report. So please do that. So Russell James discovered in the MRIs portrayed here that estate giving dialogue occupies a space that is physically adjacent to that part of the brain that harbors concerns related to the meaning of life. So physically and spiritually, these things are connected. The connection between making an estate gift and the meaning of life are just synapses apart. And that is the best scientific description I have found to understand why it is so easy to facilitate a large estate gift after a person has just made a significant cash gift to a capital campaign. It defies logic. It is totally counterintuitive. However, the data says that it can happen, and it can happen to you. So please make this happen. Don't just sit by and think, oh, it's somebody else. Call me. I'll coach you through it. I'll give you all this free information. I'll point you to books like this. This is my life mission to do this kind of thing. So it is a tremendous joy for me. So in summary, number 1, the way you land $1 million gift to your church capital campaign joyfully. Number 1, have that faith and trust. It's out there. Okay, it can happen. Number 2, who are your potential $1 million donors? I can help you figure that out. Do your research. Number 3, you have to ask, but in advance, you got to engage them in a dialogue. based on your pastor's leadership and eye contact, educate and inform. And you really have got to make this part of their life experience. These are all doable things. You can do that. And number 4, you got to ask in the right way. Don't be general, be specific. And remember, visual, auditory, kinesthetic. And then number 5, don't let it rest. Follow up. Okay. After they give, thank them and start preparing for the next ask. Now, as a bonus, I'm going to throw in a couple other things. Giving has increased dramatically. Just for example, last year, Giving Tuesday went up by almost $3 billion. Overall giving to all charities in the United States is approaching 500 billion, probably past 500 billion this year. Foundation giving is up 19%. The percentage of millionaires among us has tripled in recent history. It's almost tripled. The real number is 8.8%, up from 3% in our recent history. So the capacity is there. Now, in fundraising, the donor pyramid has changed from 80-20 to 90-10. So be aware that for you to be a success in development, leadership gifts are critically important. So be fearless. You can do this, okay? Now, if you need additional resources, if you need to build consensus on your vision, let me know. I have a wonderful visioning facilitator that I can recommend and have worked with. I have a wonderful cost estimate person that I could just, who has built many, many churches. I have a wonderful church loan expert, and none of these people charge anything for a conversation. It's their mission and ministry. It's their joy to share with you. So they would love to share information with you. And I'm a church capital campaign consultant. It costs nothing for a phone call. So call me or email me. That's my phone number. That's my email. That's my website. Please call anytime. You can do this. And just remember, other people have done it. You're not the only person on the planet to face this. You can do it. The money is out there. So good luck. Go forth and God bless. Thank you so much for joining me on this Church Capital Campaign $1 Million Gift webinar. God bless you all. Bye-bye.